Ladies and gentlemen, it is Johnny TCG back with another video. Today, I've got a Red Purple Kid extravaganza for you. Editor, that was cringe. Cut that out. This looter is a lot of fun. I've been doing deck lists on him every set recently, and it is time for an OP08 one. We're going to do a deck breakdown, we're going to do a giveaway, and then we're going to go into not one, not two, like 5 sim games. We've got a lot of sim games for you today, a lot of different matchups. Starter deck 14, Luffy, Kalgara, Charlotte Pudding. I think you're going to find them interesting. For those that don't know, this leader has 2 abilities. He has 5,000 power and 5 life despite being a multicolor leader. And the reason for that is his first ability. During your turn, if you have 4 life cards or less, give this leader minus 1,000 power. So that stinks. It really does stink. If this leader did not have that, I think it would be a lot stronger. It's going to force you to either use your other leader ability or give him Dawn just to get to 5,000, which makes your early plays kind of awkward. His second ability is minus 1 Dawn, give this leader plus 2,000 power. Now, the name of the game for this is keeping characters on your board to help you get that Dawn back, whether that be Pudding or Eustass Captain Kid blocker. This deck is kind of based around ramp and just dealing with that leader ability so that you're not falling too far behind in the Dawn game, because once you get late game, if you don't have a lot of Dawn, you're really just going to run out of gas and it's not going to be a good time. Starting out, Kid and Killer. Who doesn't love Kid and Killer? 4 cost, 5,000 power, rush. If your opponent has 2 life cards or less, give it plus 2,000. I don't find me using this card a lot, but for 2 of, I think that's fine. If you told me though that you ran the 3 cost Zoro from OP01, I wouldn't call you crazy, just because that 1 cost difference really makes a difference in some circumstances. We're running 3 Monkey D Dragons in this deck. I love this card. It is so good. His ability to manipulate 2 rested Dawn is really helpful, and if he sticks on the board for another turn, it's going to make your life a lot easier. We've got 2 starter deck 1 Monkey D Luffy's, 5 cost, 6,000 power, rush, and if you give him 2 Dawn, it becomes unblockable, which is crazy. One of the best finishers in the game. I would highly recommend at least 1 in your deck. We're running 4 Mr. 2 Bonclays, aka the GOAT. This card is great on curve. It's even better when you play it off Porsche. I'll get to Porsche in just a second. The name of the game for this deck, in my opinion, is just using Porsche early and going wide. Going wide in this meta is so crucial. Black is KOing your characters, Dofi's flooding the board. You need some sort of counter to that, and that is you flooding the board yourself. 5-drop Kid Blocker from OP05. This card's great. Not only is it a 6,000 power blocker, which is a good stat line, it has 1,000 counter, and on your turn, when you return a Dawn to your Dawn deck, you can re-ramp that Dawn as active, and so your leader ability becomes free. We're running 4 Sanjis from OP07. This card is mostly used as a 2K for me, but sometimes if you've gone down really far in Dawn because maybe you played the 9-drop Kaido, it does become a 3 cost, which we love to do. Cheat it out. From OP07 as well, we have Tony Chopper, the Foxy Pirates version. On play, he lets you ramp a Dawn as rested if you are at equal or less than your opponent. This combos very nicely with Porsche, who is basically the MVP of this deck, debatably. Porsche, let me tell you about Porsche. Porsche is 3 cost, 5,000 power, no counter, but on play Dawn -1, you get to search the top 5 of your deck for a Foxy Pirates character. This includes Porsche herself, so you can draw Tony Chopper or Porsche. Now normally 7 targets in a deck is not enough, but in this case, her second ability after that is that you get to play 1 purple character with a power of 4,000 or less from your hand. This is mind-blowing. This allows this leader to catch up on Dawn so much more easily. You are going to play Mr. 2 Bonclay, lets you ramp a Dawn. Tony Chopper lets you ramp a Dawn. We also have Charlotte Pudding, who is new in OP08. Charlotte Pudding is basically the same effect as our Eustass Captain Kid blocker, but you ramp the Dawn as rested. but you can play it off Porsche. You can also play Charlotte Brûlée off Porsche. This is one of the new additions from OP08 as well. It's a 4-cost blocker, only 1,000 power, so it's steep to play on its own, which I never do. I basically only play it off the Porsche when I do play it. And on KO, you get to ramp it down as rested. This card is fine. If anything, it might be one of the cards I cut from this deck and add some more 2Ks. The reason being is that I just prefer some of the other options for playing off Porsche. Another target for Porsche is Black Maria. You would only really use it as a target late game when you do need to catch up on Don, because Black Maria isn't really that useful early game. It's also one of our 2Ks, so we're not looking to play it out unless it really makes sense in the moment. But late game, if you play a Kaido and then use Black Maria's ability, ooh, chef's kiss. 9-drop Kaido, starter deck 4, great card, great finisher. It does become a little tricky because this leader can't ramp a ton, so if you use it and his ability, then you better be close to winning the game. Another target for Porsche is Heat, 3-cost, 4,000 power, 1,000 counter from starter deck 10. Their ability is when you minus a Don and return it to your Don deck, give this character plus 2,000 power till the start of your next turn. So it becomes a 6,000 power for you and your opponent's turn. This is really strong. It's going to make it hard for non-removal decks to get rid of it, especially good in like a Kalgara matchup or a Blue Dofi if they don't want to use Gravity Blade Raging Tiger on a 3-cost character. The ability is going to be active a lot between your leader and some of the other cards in this deck. I would highly recommend it. We're running 2 Radical Beams. Potentially you could play more. I wouldn't call you crazy. We're running 1 Ragnarok. This gets rid of one of your opponent's cost 8 or less characters. It's a tech card. It comes in handy in like a Marco matchup when they play Rayleigh. I've definitely used it before there and it felt really good. It could also get rid of a Eustass Captain Kid blocker against Bonnie if they don't have a Rosinante out. Maybe one's not enough. Maybe one's perfect. I don't know. Test the deck out for yourself and tell me. Finally, we have the Gum Gum Jet Gatling event. This card is a staple in a lot of purple decks. It's just classic 0-cost 3K counter. Who doesn't love that? One thing that I noticed in my testing immediately is that this deck could probably use some more 2Ks. While we love our Porsche combo, we honestly probably have too many targets. And for that reason, I would take out Brûlée. Maybe take out 1 or 2 Heat. I really like Heat, especially as an early game attacker, so I wouldn't go to 0, but the 2K situation should probably be changed. When it comes to starting hands, I'm usually mulliganing for a Porsche into a ramp card like Bon Clay or Tony Chopper. Playing out the Charlotte Pudding isn't bad either. This deck is a rogue deck for a reason. It's not going to turn the meta upside down, but it definitely catches people slipping. They're going to be off guard. They are not expecting to deal with what could potentially be a 7,000 power leader swing almost every turn. It's kind of like starter deck 10 law in a way, where you have to be really careful about your Don management. Late game, every Don counts. If you have any questions or comments or suggestions for the deck list, definitely let me know. I'm all ears. That was cringe. Editor, cut that out. Before we get into the gameplay, of course I got a giveaway for you. Today we're giving away a boom custom starter deck 10 red purple kid leader, holographic, sparkles. What more could you want? It's artwork from the One Piece Treasure Cruise app. I am not the creator. I am not selling it. It is just a fun passion project. If you want to win it, all you got to do is 1, leave a like, 2, leave a comment, and if we get to 25 likes in the first 24 hours, I will send it to one random US-based commenter. Thank you all for the support thus far. We recently hit 500 subscribers, and that means so much to me. My wife said I do get to keep my One Piece figures. She's not going to throw them out. But now we have a new task. We have to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Or she's taking over the channel, shutting it down, and turning it into a cooking channel. If you don't want her to take away my channel, if you like seeing these videos, consider leaving a subscribe. Editor, I've been too cringe. Cut all this out. Let's start the gameplay. The first game I got for you today is against an OP08 Kalgara. This mono yellow leader has been all over my local scene recently. I haven't given it a try yet, but it seems like a pretty fun deck. We're going to mulligan our first hand. Honestly, our first hand was pretty fine, so I just get greedy, looking for the Porsche into one of my other small body plays. So that's why I did it. I confess. Don't hate me, or you can hate me. It doesn't matter in the end. We don't have a turn 1 play. We never have a turn 1 play. We'll just take our 2 Don and pass. They've got 3 Don. I wonder what they'll do. They might play a Searcher, or they're just going to swing big. 8,000 at me. I am just going to take this. For 4 Don, I think the move is going to be to swing 5 with Leader, not use Leader ability, and then throw down the Heat for 3 Don. Of course, we'd rather combo the Heat with Porsche, but we don't have Porsche. And maybe it's for the better, because now we're not going down on Don. We're going to be on track to play Monkey D. Dragon on curve, hopefully. We're going to give them a 1k to get out of their 5,000 swing with Leader. Then they're going to play Wiper. Wiper is a 5 cost, 7,000 power, solid card. Now, 6 Don to work with. I think Eustass Captain Kid blocker is going to be the move. I could even use Leader ability after I play out the blocker and then play Tony Chopper too. That is a pretty good deal if I say so myself. I got to power up Heat by 2,000 and then develop 2 blockers this turn. They're going to counter out of both of my swings. Seems a little bold. They are at 5 life, so they could definitely afford to take one. They're going to start with a 7,000 power swing from Wiper into Heat. I am not going to let this Heat go yet. We need to have a board to counteract the wide board that Kalgara is able to play. So I want to keep that alive. 6,000 power swing almost every turn. That is a good deal to me. 7 Don left to work with. They are just going to hard cast Kalgara 6-drop and not swing with Leader because they would get blocked by my Eustass Captain Kid. That 1 Don being left up is more than likely for a counter event. With Dragon, we're going to swing into their Wiper. 9,000 on 7,000. They are going to use an event. The Earth won't lose, buffs them to 10,000, getting them out of this attack. I am going to swing into them with our Leader using Leader ability. We're swinging for 8,000. They are going to give us the 2k. I'm going to give them a 7,000 swing with Heat. Let's see what they do here. And they give me a 1,000 counter. It's too soon to tell, and let me know if you disagree in the comments, but I think that was not the right play. We just got a ton of cards from hand just for them to keep the Wiper alive. That doesn't seem like the right move to me, but let me know what you think in the comments. 9,000 into Heat. Unfortunately, we're going to have to let Heat go. Your service was honorable. Now, what are they going to do with 7 Don? 6 on their Leader, swinging big into Dragon. They will use Leader ability to play out the 6-cost Kalgara. I am going to block with Eustass Captain Kid, keeping that Dragon alive. We are in an amazing spot here. We're going to start our turn with a 9,000 power swing into Wiper with Dragon. They are not going to use an event there. Now it's time for the big guy, 9-drop Kaido, to come out. We will be able to get rid of Kalgara, the active one, and their rested one as well. This is going to be huge for us. I think even though they do have a ton of life still, this will kind of seal the game for us. I'm going to put a Don on Kaido and swing 11 into the Kalgara. Let's see if they're willing to give me 4k. That would be both the cards from their hand. They cannot do that. I decide not to swing with Leader, just so I don't go down further in Don and kind of starving them a little bit. They're going to play down the Shura and draw the Ohm off of it. They're going to give 7 Don to their Leader. They're going to swing 12 into Dragon. I cannot get out of that. That feels bad. Dragon's got to go. They didn't use Leader ability there. We're back at 7 Don. I think we're still in a great position. We're going to play down the Sanji blocker that we can do for only 3 Don because of how low we are in Don compared to our opponent. Then we're going to play the Porsche off of that as well. We can draw another Porsche and then play out the Heat. I am being a little risky here by getting rid of the only counter in my hand for the sake of going wide, but I think it's worth it. We're going to swing 5 with Leader. They are going to counter out of that. I didn't use Leader ability because I want to be able to drop the 9-drop Kaido next turn. They're going to counter out of one, take the other, and
they don't really have any options here. They see the writing on the wall too and concede. Our next matchup is against starter deck 14, Luffy, the newest, greatest, hottest leader on the scene. I like this hand, but it doesn't have the push, and I'm always looking to do a push play turn 2, so I mulligan. This second hand is fine. I do have the Charlotte Pudding that I can play on my turn 2, and then follow that up with either Bon Clay or Eustass Captain Kid Blocker, so I like where we're at. They don't have a turn 1 play. Our turn 2 play is to swing with lead, use leader ability, and Charlotte Pudding allows us to get that Don back as rested, so it was basically free. Who doesn't love free Don? They've got 4 Don to work with. We could possibly see a Kuzan here. They're just going to throw 4 Don on their leader and swing at me for 9. I'm going to take that, of course. For 5 Don, I'm going to play out the Eustass Captain Kid Blocker, and look at this. We get to use both of their abilities. Now we're swinging for 6,000 with lead, and we got an extra Don that we ramped. They're going to 2k out of that swing, and I'll pass it over to them. They hit me with the great Sanji combo from starter deck 14, so my Eustass Captain Kid Blocker is already dead. That's not the end of the world, though. We're going to replace him with the Bon Clay, and we're actually going to play another one. My goal here is that they hopefully both survive this next turn, and they'll play a big body out on their turn so that I can copy their big body's power. I do have 2 Don. I could play Tony Chopper out with the 2 Don, but I do think he's a little too easy to remove, so I might just swing big with my leader. I'll give my leader 2 Don, use leader ability to swing for 9. I imagine they'll take this. Don't want to give me all those cards needed to counter out for that. They've got 8 Don to work with. They do play down the 8 cost Isho, making me trash a Tony Chopper and a Charlotte Brûlée. That's not ideal, but it's not the end of the world either. The fact that they weren't able to clear my board at all is really rough for them. It is great for me. I'll have 2 9,000 power Mr. 2 Bon Clay swings next turn, and then on top of that, I'll have a leader swing. I'm going to give them 1k of counter to get out of that leader swing from them. I give them the 1k there because I'm not going to give them anything for the Sanji swing, and I would rather just use the 1k right away. Now it's time for our Bon Clays to put in work. We're going to do 9,000 at their Sanji. Let's see if they give me anything. They would need to give me 2Ks. They don't. That's great for us. Now we'll do a 9,000 swing at their leader. They'll take that. I could be a little bit more aggressive and play Monkey D. Dragon, but I'd rather go a little wider. I'll play down the Kid Blocker, and then I'll swing with my leader. I'll leave some Don up. I'll probably play out the Kid and Killer as well, so I will have another swing on them. They'll have to give me some counter. They do have a ton of cards in hand, though, so I expect for them to be able to get out of these swings. They'll start with a 1k for Helmeppo, and then the 0-cost 6-King Pistol event for black. Slowly but surely, we're getting cards from their hand. I am going to finally swing with Charlotte Pudding just to make them give me another card. They gave us the 2k. That's not a good sign for them. We'll swing 7 with Eustass Captain Kid, and they will take that. And so now they're down to 1 life. I just need to get them to 0 life so that I can play starter deck 1 Rush Luffy, unblockable. You know what time it is. They're going to give 1 Don to Isho to give all my characters -3. Then they're going to play out Sanji to pop my Eustass Captain Kid Blocker. They are going to be able to take out at least 2 more of my characters with their leader swing and Isho swing. This is not ideal, but if we can keep some alive, oof. They hit us with the Brook to get rid of the Kid and Killer. They swing into 1 Bon Clay. They swing into the other. Now I'm just left with a Charlotte Pudding. This is definitely a little bit of a sticky situation. I thought we were in great position, but I think we kind of have to go for game here. The question is, which cards do we play out? I'm thinking we go Dragon, give 2 rested Don to Pudding, give her another Don, and swing for 7 at their leader. All it would take would be a 2k to get out of this, which I'm expecting them to have. Will they have it, though? That is the question. They're going to give me 2 1k Sabo blockers as counter. That is not a good sign for them. I'm going to swing with leader. 8,000. They let me have it. Do they have 2Ks in their hand? They do not. GG's. They almost took it at the end there. We are going to rematch. We do see the Porsche play in our opening hand, so we will keep that. We can go Porsche into Chopper, get the Don back as rested. We like to see that. We also have the starter deck 4 9-drop Kaido. That card is a ton of fun. I hope I will be able to reach 9 Don in a timely manner. We don't have a 1 Don play. That is fine. They don't have the 2 Don play. I wonder if they even play the 2-cost brand new Searcher. Off the Porsche, we don't draw anything, but we can play out the Tony Chopper. I'm debating on whether or not I want to use leader ability here, and I decide not to. Saving up my Don so I can play that 9-drop Kaido is too important to me. 7,000 at me. I think you can make the argument that I should take this with Chopper just because their deck is so easily able to KO low-cost bodies. But I am going to take it because I do want to see what card I can get from my life. We do get the Charlotte Brûlée blocker. That could be paired well with the Porsche potentially this next turn. We might go Porsche into Brûlée, or we might even go Eustass Captain Kidd 5-drop blocker. They whiff off the brand new, which is good for us. We're going to start our turn by swinging 5,000 with Porsche into their leader. They give us the TCG 2K. I wonder if that's all the counter they have, or if they just used the 2K TCG because they'll be able to bring it back with Rebecca. I decided to go for the 5-cost Kidd blocker and then swing 6 with my leader. They take that one, and I'll pass, leaving 1 Don left up. Nothing I can do about that. They're going to start their turn by giving 1 Don to their leader. Are we going to see another Sanji play to pop my Eustass Kidd? We do. I hate that combination for us. 6,000 into Porsche. I think Tony Chopper blocking is the right move here. It would be easily removed, so might as well get some value out of it now. We are almost at that 9 Don for us to play starter deck 4 Kaido. I think I'm going to play Eustass Captain Kidd blocker first. If I didn't swing with Don attached to my leader, I could have used leader ability, then played out Porsche and Brûlée, which would have been an interesting combo. I decide to start off with 7,000 from my leader. The reason I'm doing it in this order is because that Don that I get re-ramped, I will give to Porsche to swing with, so she is swinging with 7 instead of 6. Every 1,000 counts in a close match. Are they going to take this 7? They will. They didn't have a ton of cards in hand. Now they're going to be at their 8 Don turn. We might see a Gecko. We might see a Jack. They go with the OP07 Sabo Secret Rare. I was not expecting that. I did not know Starter Deck 14 decks ran that. Great play by them. Able to clear my board completely. 5,000 at me. I think I should probably give them the Brûlée as counter. I do that. I'll take the 6,000 swing from Sanji. I'm at 9 Don. It feels a little weird because I'm really going down far in Don and I won't be able to ramp, but I'm going to play Kaido, pop their Sanji, use leader ability when I swing. They do give me the Tashigi 2K by mistake. That is bad news for them. 2Ks are so critical. I wonder if they didn't mean to give it to me at all, or if they meant to give me something else with it. Let's see if that has an impact on how this game ends. They are going to Ice Age my Kaido, bringing it down to 4 cost. If they have another Sanji 5-drop, they'll be able to play that and get rid of my Kaido. They are going to play the Brook. That is spicy tech in that deck. Interesting list nonetheless. They are going to swing 5,000 with brand new into me. Do I want to counter out of this or do I want to take it? This is kind of a tough question. I'm going to have to get out of a 7,000 swing from their leader and a 9,000 swing from Sabo. I decide I'll take it and then use the 3,000 event for their leader swing. I'll probably get rid of the Porsche with that. Here comes the 7,000 swing. 0 cost event, Porsche, bye-bye. Then we'll let the 9,000 swing from Sabo go through. This is a really awkward position. I'm going to play down the Brûlée blocker, but I don't know if that even does anything for me. I'm going to swing with Leader, using Leader ability, 8,000 at them. Maybe I should have went at the brand new 2. They give me the 2K and the 1K, so that doesn't even hit. Let me know in the comments what you think about this. What should I have done on that play? Should I have gone double rush with Luffy and then my Leader? They would have been able to get out of it anyway, but should I have pressured brand new, tried to clear that? They're going to play another brand new, which is interesting. They do get the Kuzan. This, I think, is a misplay. They're swinging for me for 6. I think you got to go 7 there. Now we've got a 9,000 swing from Sabo. We actually are going to block with Brule, which gives us a Don rested. They've got 8 Don to work with. They might be going Gecko here. And maybe Gecko Rebecca. Maybe they'll do Jack. They go 8,000 with brand new. I hate to see this play. This doesn't feel like a great win. I am including it just as kind of like learning material. I'm able to get out of the 8,000 swing. They've got a 9. We do get the Kid and Killer, and so that makes more sense Don-wise than the starter deck 1, Rush Luffy. We are going to be able to play the Kid and Killer. We are going to swing. Right now we're at 8,000. I think it makes sense to swing for 8, and then we'll go 9 with our Leader. They still have 3 cards in hand. They may have this. We're going to give all our Don to Leader. Swing 9. It isn't impossible for them to have it, but they were bricked up. If they had a Gecko and a Rebecca in trash, they definitely should have went that route. Or I don't think the brand new was necessary. I think the brand new was the issue here. If they just would have divided their Don properly, they probably would have won that. GG's though. You live and you learn. Now we've got a match against Purple Yellow Charlotte Pudding from OP08. This should be an interesting one. We don't have any answers for their big bodies that they'll be able to play out early, but they probably don't have answers for the amount of rush and how wide we're able to go early. So it will definitely be a clash of 2 different styles. Neither of us have turn 1 plays. They've got 3 Don to work with. We could see a Leader swing and then maybe a Sparrow. We could see they're going to swing 5 at us and use Leader ability. They do have a Queen on the top of their life and we're going to search for the One Piece Event Searcher. Then for 3 Don, they're going to play down the Sparrow. That is not a big deal. We do have the Porsche play we are thinking about. The only question is, what do we play off the Porsche? That is one common theme in these games, is that you're going to have a lot of targets for your Porsche, and it's up to you to kind of decide what you want in the moment. I could do Pudding, Heat, or Chopper. Chopper does get me back the Don that I used for Porsche. I decided to go with Pudding because I'm going to get value from that every single turn, and I don't think that they're really going to have a way to get rid of it, which is nice. It'll basically mean my Leader ability is free this entire game. I don't plan on swinging with it, so it will never be rested unless they have some secret spice. 7,000 at them. They are going to take that, and we are just going to pass. We are in a pretty good spot. We're going to have a wide board, which is what we need and what you need to do to beat Pudding. We've got a ton of cards in hand. Next turn, we could even go Porsche again into Chopper probably, or Porsche into Heat. For 1 Don, they're going to use we're going to find the One Piece Searcher. Now they've got 5 Don left. That means they're not going to play the 6-drop Katakuri that I was expecting. That card is great on curve in this deck. They're going to find the starter deck 4 Kaido, which is an interesting tech piece. I don't see a lot of Purple Yellow Puddings run that card, but I definitely think it's an interesting choice, and it's a great card, so I'll hear them out. They're going to play down the Queen, use Queen's ability to draw 2 and trash 1 from their hand. That's a fine play for them. They are going to trash the Viscount Hiyoko, so I guess that means that they are running the Chicken Man combo. Now they're going to go 5 with lead. I will probably just take this. No point in countering out so early. We do get the Black Maria 2K, which is nice. And I'll counter out 1K with Heat for their Sparrow swing. just because I am likely not going to play that Heat. I've got other options to play off of the Porsche. I'm thinking we maybe go Porsche into Chopper here, or Porsche into Bon Clay. Let's see if they give us this Sparrow. We're going 6,000 at it with Porsche. They do, and they are going to get a Charlotte something. They do find a Charlotte Katakuri off the Sparrow ability. We're going to play Porsche, draw nothing, and then play out. I'm going to go a little bit more aggressive and play the Mr. 2 Bon Clay. It allows us to ramp it on, and it'll be great to have on the field when they start playing big characters. We're going to go 7,000 with Leader using our ability, and we're even still going to be able to play the Tony Chopper. We've managed our Don very well, and we are rewarded with the ability to play him. They do get the OP03 10-drop Linlin off the trigger. That's not ideal, but look at that board. We're going to apply a lot of pressure. They are not going to be able to play a big body this turn. They're going to go 6-drop Katakuri, which, if only they played that last turn, it doesn't give them the ramp ability because they did not flip over their top life. Now they're going to go 6,000 at Porsche, flip over their life cards so they can ramp. I'm going to let Tony Chopper take that hit. If they want to swing with Queen, they can, but they will not. I really like our position right here. We've got a wide board. I think we should swing with the Bon Clay first because we can use the Katakuri's attack power of 7,000 to swing with. If they do take this hit, they will be able to freeze one of my characters. If they want to use it, they might not want to use it just because they'd rather keep the 2K in their hand. They are going to give me the You Are the One Who Should Disappear 3K event. Now we're going to go 6,000 with Porsche into their leader. They are going to give us a 2K, the Sanji blocker. We've got a couple different options here. I'm thinking we play out one of the starter deck 1 Monkey D. Luffy cards. The fact that we have 2 is amazing. We can bypass Queen blocker and make them deal with a 8,000 power swing. They'll take the beige, and will they use his trigger? They do. That was a trap because we weren't going to swing with Porsche. We are going to swing 8,000 with starter deck 1 Luffy unblockable. If they want to get out of this, they'll have to give us 2 cards at least, and they won't. They will just take that hit. They're at 10 Don. We'll likely see a 10-drop Big Mom here, or maybe they'll play out that starter deck 4 Kaido. They need to get rid of my starter deck 1 Monkey D. Luffy, but I have another one in my hand, so if they go after that one, they can have it. I'll do some teaser swings with some of my other characters and then go big with my Rush Luffy in hand. They're going to play the 2-drop Katakuri, which allows them to play the 8-drop Katakuri. They are going to put the Rush Luffy at the bottom of my life. Decent play. For 2 Don, that's an amazing play. They're going to go 7,000 at Mr. 2 Bon Clay. RIP Mr. 2 Bon Clay. We love you, but you are dead. They've got 8 Dons still to work with. We could see another Katakuri come down. We could see a 7-drop Big Mom come down. They might just put Don on leader and swing. They might just put Don on queen and swing. Or we may even see another queen. They're going to throw 3 on their leader and swing 8,000 into Porsche. We might counter out of this just because our Porsche swings will kind of just be trick swings so that they use up counter for their hand instead of blocking with queen. So I think that's what we're going to do. I'm thinking what else they could play out for 5 Don, another queen possibly, but I will give them some counter, keep that alive. We'll see what they play out here. They're going to play the Viscount Hyoko, and I feel like this is kind of just signaling it's game over. We do have the Dragon too, which might be able to get the job done, but we are just going to go 6 with Porsche, making them decide to give us counter or block with queen. If they do, we prefer them to give us counter right here because our Luffy swing will be unblockable anyway. If they do give us queen, then maybe if they do give us queen, we'll just go all in with leader. And they are just going to concede. 1k of counter in their hand. That is absolutely brutal. I don't know why they played the Viscount out. It doesn't really matter. I had that game in the bag. GG's. We've got a game against Don Quixote Rosinante, the blue-green leader that you rarely see. This leader is really interesting. You can use him as a blocker, play lines where they can keep some of their smaller bodies alive or even their bigger bodies alive if they have the life cards to spare. So it'll be interesting to see how this matchup plays out. They're going to start with the Perona play and set the top of their deck. I wonder what kind of list they're running. There doesn't really seem to be a consensus Don Quixote Rosinante list, so we are learning as we go. We are going to start with the classic Porsche play for 3 Don. We cannot draw any cards off that, but we can play the Charlotte Pudding, which we like to do. Now we'll use leader ability, swing for 6, and get 1 Don back as rested. We did go down 2 Don on that play. We got 1 back, but the moral of the story is we still went down 1, which is not ideal. But they're going to play out the Monet blocker. They probably run a Don Quixote family build and go 6,000 at me. I'm thinking we just take this. Let's see what kind of card we can get. And we get the Sanji blocker 2k. That is fine. We are going to use Porsche again and Whiff again. That is not great. We can't play anything off it. We do get to use Charlotte Pudding's ability, though, so we do get a Don back. We're going to swing with 5 into their leader, and they'll give us the 1k Pudding counter. Now I can swing with 5 with Pudding, or I'll swing with leader. I'm going to swing with leader. I'm not going to use leader ability here. I need to save up a little bit of Don so that late game I have not run out of it. They're going to take that swing from leader, and I am just going to pass. They're going to play down the sugar to rest one of my Porsches. They've still got 4 Don to work with. This will be an interesting play. They might play another character, or they may swing big. I'd prefer them to swing big and not develop another character, but we'll see what they do. I'm going to need to get rid of this sugar fast, and spoiler alert, I do not, and it bites me in the butt. I think in hindsight, the play here is to play the Eustass Captain Kidd blocker, have them rest one of my characters, rest their sugar, and then just swing into the sugar with my other characters. We're going to go 6k at life with Eustass Kidd. They are going to block with Monet and are able to rest my other Porsche. 5 down here, I make a silly play. I throw down the Kid and Killer, forgetting that the Sugar's ability goes before the Rush. And then I'm going to swing 5,000 with Pudding. This is another misplay. I think I should have swung that either into Sugar or not at all, really. So, F in the chat, common Johnny TCG misplay, disliked, unsubbed, doxed, swatted, trash. But we shall move on and hopefully rebound from that play, that turn, that awful turn. They're going to go 7,000 with leader into Kid and Killer. I'm thinking if I want to counter here, in hindsight, I think I should give them the 0 cost event and the Sanji. I don't hate that play. I decided to give them the Eustass Captain Kidd. Kidd has less counter on it, but I do think that Kidd would have been better to develop on field. So I don't know about that one. You can let me know if you agree or disagree. Now they're going to go 6,000 with Perona, which I didn't expect. I will give them more counter for that. Now I'm left with 1 card in hand. I've got a full field, but this is not a great position to be in. I really just need to get rid of the sugar. Here, I should have dropped the Black Maria to rest their sugar. Instead, I'm kind of going to pressure life a little bit, which is unnecessary because they have 2 blockers on the field. It's not like I have a rusher in hand. They're going to get the Gum Gum Red Rock trigger. That's brutal. They'll get rid of one of my Porsches. They're going to take that hit from Porsche as well. And they get a back-to-back trigger. They're going to get rid of the Kid and Killer. You know, I made some misplays, but this is just some terrible luck right here. Now we're going to go 8,000 into lead. They will block out of that with Margaret. And now I'm left with a choice. Do I want to swing big with Pudding? I decide to just end my turn, keep one character up in case they drop the 10 cost Dofi. But dropping a 10 cost Dofi, keeping my Pudding up does not really make much of a difference if they've got a Rosinante on the field. They're going to drop the 8 cost Kid along with the Don Quixote Doflamingo blocker. This is terrible. It is going to be hard for me to swing big enough to deal with this Kid. They have 2 blockers on field, one of them being Rosinante, which is debatably one of the best blockers in the game. They also have a Sugar, so if I get a big rush card, it will just be rested by the Sugar. This is awkward. I have no choice but just to kind of swing big into it. So we'll go 11 with Porsche into the Kid. They'll give us the Doflamingo blocker. Now it's 10,000 with our leader. Do they have the 2Ks or will they use Rosinante? Unfortunately, they do have the counter, and that's just bad news. I think here is where it's just over for me. Can't get out of that. They clear the Porsche. They're going to set another blocker up. I have no way of getting rid of this Eustass Captain Kid. They've set up the perfect wall, the perfect barricade. Even if I do have something that can get to it, the Sugar will rest it once I play it. They've got 2 blockers on the field. It's not looking good, folks. 7,000 at me. I'll take this. I'm looking for answers of some kind. Nothing feels good right now. I don't really have any game-winning plays from my hand. It's painfully ironic that the character that's going to be my downfall is also my leader. This really is the duality of man. I don't really have much of a choice besides to swing with Pudding into the Kid. They're going to have to give me one of their blockers, probably the Monet. Then I'm going to swing with our leader, but then they will just be able to get rid of their Rosinante blocker, so it's not like that as much this turn. Here's where it's really over for me. No matter what I do, they would just rest the character with Sugar, and so having a blocker up doesn't really do much. I'm going to go big with Eustass Captain Kid, but they are playing me like a puppet right now. They're going to block that with Rosinante blocker, and this game is basically over. They've got me right where they want me. They're going to swing big into the Pudding. I'm going to counter out of this. That wasn't really the right play, but it also, I don't know if there is a wrong play at this point. The game is kind of just over for me. They top deck a Rosinante blocker just to add insult to injury. And yeah, we're going to swing to clear the 8-drop Kid. At this point, I should have just conceded though, because there was no way I was going to be able to win. We are going to play down the Monkey D. Dragon, even though it just gets rested by Sugar. They've got the swings on me. 9,000 with Kid. I'll take that. Now a 19,000 swing from their leader. GG's. I hate to lose, but it was cool that it was a rogue deck that did me dirty.
Ladies and gentlemen, those are the games I got for you today. I feel so silly losing that Rosinante game. I just didn't get rid of that Sugar in time, and when you let a Sugar like that stay on board, bad things are going to happen. So learn from my mistakes. Don't be like me, except in the good ways. Then you can be like me. Playoff meta, hit the gym. Those are like the only things about me, to be honest. If you've made it this far, I really appreciate you. Don't forget, if you want to win the custom Boom Red Purple Kid leader card, all you gotta do is 1, leave a like, 2, leave a comment, and 3, that's all you gotta do. Everyone, I love you. Thank you for subscribing. Peace. Editor, you gotta cut these out. I'm really hoping you do. Today's video was extra cringe.